Hey everybody, it's Ron from Pick Dawgz, and this is Ron's Bank Shop Breakdown. We're going to go over 5 college basketball games for Saturday, November 11th, 2023. Now, if you like what you see, make sure to give this video a big thumbs up and subscribe to our channel. Don't forget to put your college basketball picks in the comment section below. And if you're looking for my best bets, including my $19 Bank Shop best bet, you can find those at the Premium Picks tab at pickdawgz.com. Alrighty, let's get into it. Here are the games for Saturday in college basketball. First up, it's an early game between Stonehill and UConn. This one's going to be 12 o'clock Eastern. It's on Fox Sports 2. Of course, UConn is the number 6 team in the nation in the AP polls, and we see them as a huge favorite in this non-conference battle. But I think this line is actually too light. I think UConn should be even steeper favorites. That's why I'm willing to lay the points here with the Huskies. You know, these teams played last year, and UConn only won that game by 31 points, only won by 31 points. But it was also the first game of the season for the Huskies. UConn this year played a game already against Northern Arizona. They won that game in blowout fashion, 95-52. By the way, I think Northern Arizona a much better team than Stonehill this season. So now UConn gets to play Stonehill after getting a game under its belt. And in that game last year, UConn only shot the ball 20.8% from three-point range. They were 5 of 24 from three. So it was a really off shooting night for the Huskies. They still won the game and still put up 85 points in the end. Stonehill, the worry for me with this team is just the offense. I don't think they're going to score enough points to keep in this game. I mean, we saw in their first game of the season losing by 55 points to George Washington, 89-44, only 44 points of offense in that ball game. This is a bad shooting team. It doesn't really create many good shots to begin with. They turn the ball over a lot, and that goes back to last season. Stonehill was pretty decent defensively. They forced turnovers. They don't really take too many fouls. Pretty good two-point defense, but the offense was one of the worst in college basketball. 339th in adjusted offensive efficiency, one of the worst offensive rebounding teams in college basketball. They turn the ball over a lot. Going into this year, I think we see the same offensive struggles for this Stonehill team. I mean, even in their win against Army last time out, they only put up 57 points in that game. And while the defense was good in that one, I don't think that defense travels against this UConn high-octane offense. We should see UConn in the upper 80s, 90s, maybe even triple digits in this game offensively. And if that's the case, I just don't think Stonehill can score enough to cover this number. So give me UConn laying the big number at home. Next up, we see Arkansas State taking on Bowling Green. This one, 12 o'clock Eastern. It's going to be on ESPN+. Now, you always want to be careful of overreacting to the first game of the season in college basketball, but I got to say, I was really impressed with Bowling Green's effort in their game against Chicago State. I did not like what I saw from Arkansas State defensively, especially against Wisconsin. Arkansas State lost 105-76, and it's a really solid Wisconsin team, Power 5 program, but it's more of a methodical offense that the Badgers have, and they were one of the slower-paced teams in college hoops last year. They don't really score a ton of points per game, and they were able to score triple digits against Arkansas State. We know Arkansas State defensively last year was, struggling, 273rd adjusted defensive efficiency. But now on the road, I really worry about Arkansas State defensively here against a Bowling Green team that had a lot of question marks going into the season because it was basically a restart, a rebuild for the program. A new head coach in Todd Simon. They lost a lot of production from last year's team. They had to replace a lot of production, and with transfers, some from the other Division I colleges, but a lot of them from JUCO, junior colleges. A lot of talented players, though, from junior college that Bowling Green was able to grab. Marcus Hill is one of them. He scored 18 points in that game against Chicago State. Really talented scorer, can basically shoot anywhere on the court, an elite three-point shooter as well. He was only 1 of 3 from 3 in that game, but I was really impressed on both sides of the ball with Bowling Green in that ball game, holding Chicago State to 41 points. It's a Chicago State program that's improving year after year, so I got to give credit to Bowling Green there, and I like their chances in this game. I think at home, against a struggling defense, I think the Falcons win this game and cover the number, so give me Bowling Green. Next up, we see Ball State and Old Dominion. This one's going to be a 2 o'clock Eastern start time. It's going to be on ESPN+. Of course, it's also part of the MAC and Sunbelt Conference Challenge, but again, it is still a true home game for Ball State. Ball State does not have a single senior on this roster. A lot of juniors, especially in the starting lineup, but also a ton of freshmen. We saw Mason Jones get to start for Ball State as a freshman. A lot of them on the bench. So one of the younger, less experienced teams in Division I hoops this year. While Old Dominion, mostly upperclassmen in the starting lineup, a couple seniors. And I do think Old Dominion, in a game like this, where I expect it to be a pretty close one and pretty competitive game, I just trust that experience more. I also think Old Dominion is just more slightly more talented in this ball game as well. Old Dominion brought in some nice transfers, some guys with some Power 5 college basketball experience. Both teams coming off wins against subdivision opponents. They weren't amazing victories, but still, getting a W to start the year, not too shabby. I think Old Dominion, like I said, I just trust their experience more. I do think they have the better head coach, and in a game it should be a close one. I give the edge to the Monarchs. So give me Old Dominion. I'm going to take them on the money line. Next up, we see Stetson and UNLV. This one's 7 o'clock Eastern. It's a part of the Sunshine Slam, but it's still a home game for UNLV as it's a campus game for the Rebels. Now, UNLV, we took them the last game they played, the first game of the season against Southern. We laid the points, and UNLV lost that game outright, 85-71. Like I said, you don't want to overreact to one performance, but I gotta say, UNLV really struggled to defend the perimeter in that ball game. Southern, similar to Stetson, a team that takes a lot of three-pointers and makes them at a pretty good rate. Southern in that game against UNLV, 11 of 18 from three, 61%. Now, I don't think we're going to see teams shoot 60+% against UNLV from the perimeter much this year, but Stetson is one of those teams that we saw last year take a ton of three-pointers. They were 11th best in the country in the entire Division I college basketball in three-point shooting, 38%. They were 41st in the nation in adjusted offensive efficiency. So while the defense for the Hatters is not great, they can certainly score points in bunches, and they have really good shooters on this team. They don't bring back everybody from last year's team, but still some talented scorers. We saw them earn a blowout win, scoring 109 points against a subdivision opponent in Game 1. And I think Stetson's a live dog in Game 2 here against that UNLV struggling perimeter defense. Last year, UNLV was actually ranked 293rd in three-point defense. So I think that's going to be an issue here for the Rebels, especially when it comes to covering this big number. Give me the Hatters plus the points. Maybe they pull off the outright upset. Next up, we see the final game we're talking about for Saturday's card, Utah State and Bradley. This one, 8 o'clock Eastern. It's going to be on ESPN+. It's not a star-studded college basketball card for Saturday, but this would probably be one of the better games just in terms of competition level as two solid mid-major schools. Bradley opened its season with a nice win against UAB, a top 100 team in KenPom, a program that's had a lot of success in college basketball in recent years. Bradley went on the road and beat UAB by 2 points in overtime, 73-71. And the thing that was most impressive from Bradley was their three-point defense in that game, holding a really good shooting team in UAB to 3 of 19 from three-point range, 15.8%. And normally I'd say, I'd worry about the numbers regressing towards the mean for Bradley. Going forward, you can't hold teams to sub 20% from three, but I do think Bradley's still going to be a really good three-point defense this year because that's just been what Brian Wardle teams have done recently. In the last 6 seasons, Bradley's finished five of the last 6 seasons. Bradley's had a top 100 three-point defense. So I think going forward, Bradley's going to be one of the better three-point defenses in mid-major college hoops, and that benefits them here against a Utah State team that takes a ton of threes, makes them at a pretty good rate, but on the road here, I don't know if that's going to be the case for Utah State. We don't really learn too much from them in their first game. They played a subdivision opponent, so this is going to be their first true road game of the season and a pretty tough place to play. I don't love this Utah State defense. That wasn't great last year, and I do think that Bradley has the advantage in this game, especially as the home team. So give me Bradley. I think they're the better team. I think they match up better with Utah State as well, and I think they have the better coach, honestly. And that's it. Those are the games for Saturday in college basketball. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe. But don't forget to put your college basketball picks in the comments section below. Again, if you're looking for my best bet, you can find those at Pick Dawgz Premium. As always, this is Ron Romanelli. Good luck.